Morning to one and all present over here. I, Janvi Sharma from MBA 4th SEM, welcome you all into today's webinar by our alumni, Ms. Rubal Rathi. She is a doctoral scholar in marketing at the School of Management, BML Munjal University. Her research interests include luxury marketing, luxury brand management, luxury retailing, consumer behavior, and responsible luxury consumption. From her first year in the PhD program, she has been involved in multiple research projects in the area of luxury management. She has also co authored opinion articles and a book chapter in this domain. Prior to joining the doctoral program, Ms. Rathi had a brief stint in the corporate banking division of Axis Bank Limited. Now,
we are talking about luxury management today. So I think first of all, before delving deep into what are the careers in this domain, I think I would like to sensitize the audience about how is luxury different from mass market, and then probably we'll move forward with the careers. So when I say luxury brand, so can all of you just type it in? What brand comes to your mind when I say luxury? So we'll take about probably 15 seconds for this, and any brand that comes to your mind. So when we talk about luxury brands, there is a whole gamut of brands like Montblanc, Louis Vuitton, Chloe, Miu Miu, Dior, Tiffany, Fendi, and you can of course see all of them on the screen. But when we talk about premium brands, a lot of a lot of us might be using those brands. For example, sports brands like Adidas and Nike, Puma, or even Patagonia for that matter, and we really consider them to be luxuries. A lot of people do. But for people who are looking forward to building a career in this domain, they really have to kind of understand that divide and appreciate it as well. And we'll moving forward, we'll understand what kind of distinguishes premium brands from luxury brands. Also, just to give you all a perspective, so we have globally, we have three big conglomerates which controls or they have a lot of portfolios, a lot of brands under their portfolio. So the biggest conglomerate is LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. They have brands like Givenchy, Celine, and Dior, LV, Bulgari, etc. The second biggest conglomerate is the Richemont Group, who have brands like Cartier, Van Cleef & Arpels, Piaget, Chloe, etc. And the third biggest conglomerate is Kering. So they have brands like Bottega Veneta, Gucci, which Nilu mentioned, and Balenciaga, Alexander McQueen, etc. Now, when we look at the luxury industry, so we have a lot of segments of brands. Not everybody can afford the top tier brands, so to say. So we have a segmentation, and for luxury management professionals, it is very important to understand that what kind of segment or customer segment are they catering to. So here is a brand segmentation pyramid I've collated for you. So at the bottom of it, we have mass market brands, which are not really luxuries, but in India or in emerging economies, we do consider them to be. For example, for some people, even Zara and H&M might be luxury, but they are not really. So from a professional point of view, so brands like H&M and Zara, they come at the bottom of this pyramid, which are called mass market brands. Moving ahead, we have bridge brands, and then diffusion, ready to wear, and haute couture. Haute couture are made specifically for a very specific clientele, where the products are tailor made, they're handcrafted. And I think the top three rungs of the pyramid are what luxury management professionals need to really understand: what kind of consumer segments look at these brands, and what kind of consumer segments purchase these brands or these products. Now, coming back to luxuries versus designer versus super premium versus premium. So of course, as consumers, there's of course a very fine line, but from a marketer's point of view, how are these different? So when we talk about price quality ratio, so for luxury, of course, price is humongous. and quality of the product would be the best in the world. But when we talk about luxury products, we do not really consider price quality ratio as the main factor, so when anything is associated with price quality ratio, it comes under premium. And then we have very different target audience for luxuries, super premiums, and premiums, which of course we'll be covering moving forward. Now, when we talk about luxuries, what are the specific features of luxury products that make them luxury? Number one is craftsmanship. So the whole making of the product, there are very few people who are the craftsmen or who are the artisans who make a certain kind of designer bag, who are very limited in the world. So that particular person can only make that bag with that finesse because they have years of experience and their generations have been doing this. So craftsmanship comes at the top when we talk about luxury products. Next is storytelling. So you cannot really sell luxury without a story. So this story can be about the history of the brand, about the founder of the brand, or about the brand DNA, or the lineage of the brand. So a lot of different stories can be crafted around a brand. And when we talk about luxury, this is one of the very important features. Next is scarcity. So even if you have a lot of money to shell out, you really cannot buy all the luxuries in the world. For example, Rolls Royce. So even if you have money to spend on it, they would not readily make it available for you. Or Hermes Birkin bag, for that example. So there is an element of mystique and scarcity when you talk about luxuries. And I'm covering all of this just because as luxury management professionals, people really have to cultivate this kind of mindset. Then only they'll be able to kind of succeed in the industry. And then last of all, it is the social cachet that is being created. So people purchasing luxuries, they belong to a very different segment of the world, or that's a very different consumer segment altogether, which luxury management professionals should understand and appreciate. All right, moving forward now, dominant consumer segments in this area. So of course, when I'll ask any one of you, I'm sure all of you will agree that people who have deep pockets or who have a certain kind of lifestyle or a way of living, they can only afford luxuries. But since we are sitting in today's day and age and things are changing, so apart from people from royalties or people who are rich within their families, there are new consumer segments that are emerging. Number one is Henrys. So Henrys are high earners, not rich yet. So these are the people in their middle ages. They earn a good sum of money. They are self-made, and they so their families might not be into luxury, but now since these people have entered a different field altogether, so they have kind of started consuming luxury very often. And this is a very important consumer segment for luxury brands to look at. The next most important segment are millennials and Gen Z. So by 2030, I think more than half of the luxury consumers will comprise of this generation. And why is this important for you people to understand? Because if you enter into luxury domain, so I'm sure we all are the same age and we do belong to either millennials or Gen Z. So it is very easy for us to understand and relate to what these consumers really want, and as professionals it will be very easy for us to deliver. So millennials and Gen Z, they are digital natives, they are born with technology, so for them digital plays a big role in the luxury industry. And of course they do not really care about the products, but for them experiences matter the most. So this is another very important feature of the dominant consumer segment in luxury. Next is what are luxury consumers really looking at? So do we talk about positioning in luxury, or do we cater to a need of consumers, or do we try to solve a problem when we offer luxury products? So this might be the case for mass market products, but not for luxuries. Or do luxury consumers look for more features in a product? Or do they look for value for money? I don't think none of these apply to a luxury consumer. Rather, they look for brand heritage. So they might associate themselves with LV because it has a very rich heritage. It is a 19th century brand, and so they really associate with the entire lineage of a brand, and prestige and uniqueness. So these are the key things that luxury consumers look at. And talking about uniqueness, so at a personal level, they look for differentiation, individuality, and self-expression through their products, because for them, luxury has become a way of life. So they represent themselves through these products, through such consumptions. And at brand level, these consumers really expect brands to be innovative and to provide them custom experiences, which I'm sure luxury is never about masses. So the whole experience or the whole product has to be confined to that particular individual. I should feel that this product is just made for me. So the offering has to be very unique, and you should feel a sense of belongingness to the in-group. And experiences, of course, like I said, that the key thing for new age luxury consumers are experiences. They really don't care much about the product, of course, is the fulcrum of their consumption. But they, even if they go to a retail store to make a purchase, experiences do play a key role. Now, what are, as management professionals, if a luxury brand is hiring an individual, so what are they looking at? Consumer feedback. So a lot of it happens oftentimes in mass market stores, that you don't like something in a certain way and you give customer feedback, and brands quickly take up that feedback and try to inculcate that in the product. But that is not really the case with luxury brands. So a very good example here is from an iconic brand, BMW. So they got customer feedback about increasing the leg room in their hind seats, but the brand really did not give into this feedback received from a lot of customers, because they thought that their own uniqueness or their identity would be diluted if they take feedback from the customer. So a brand creates a product and then it offers to the customer, because that kind of delivers what the brand stands for. So customer feedback is a big no-no for luxury brands. Second thing is scarcity, which I also touched upon earlier. So like the Hermes Birkin bag. So you have a long waiting time for this bag, and once you own it, you kind of feel out of the world, because you have waited for such a long time for this bag, and it is exclusive. There are only a few pieces available in the world. So this kind of gives you a feeling which is very different from masses. So you consider yourself to be valued by the brand. To be able to enter the luxury industry, so what kind of mindset do professionals need to cultivate? For this, you have to really understand the brand DNA, which of course we'll be talking as we move forward, because a lot of universities who teach these courses, full-fledged courses on luxury, so DNA comes at the bottom, at the base of going for a luxury brand management course. So for example, Louis Vuitton might have a very different brand DNA. Van Cleef and Arpents, they have an element of mystique in their DNA. And Hermes, it was made for horsemen. So the brand started making equipments for horsemen. How has it evolved making products, and how is it even relevant today to young consumers? So all this comes under brand DNA. And for luxury management professionals, I think it is very important to understand and assimilate the brand DNA. So these are, of course, topics that require one full-fledged session for their own, but I'm just touching upon each element for you all to just to understand from a holistic perspective, basically. Now the trends, why is luxury, why entering into luxury industry is very important now, and why does it make a difference right now? Because a lot of young consumers are, India is the second youngest, India has the second youngest population in the world, and by the end of this year, we are expecting a double-digit growth in the luxury industry. and 300 international fashion brands are looking at entering the Indian market, which makes a lot of sense, and because it'll require a lot of luxury management professionals. And finally, by 2030, this market will cross $200 billion. So there's a huge, immense growth potential in terms of entering into the industry as a professional and for consumers as well. Okay, so just to quite a bit of a recap, so the market size, of course, is growing at an immense rate, and because there's a mix of millennial and Gen Z demographics, so omni-channel experiences will make a lot of sense, and people are. So luxury industry has always been hesitant in using social media because it is luxury and it has to maintain an element of mystique, but to be relevant to the young consumers, they are coming up on social media and they're doing variety of different kind of campaigns. So one angle to look at entering into the luxury industry can also be from a digital perspective, an expert in data or social media or data analytics. That can be a very good career moving forward. And these brands want their luxury professionals to kind of emulate these brand ethos and reflect, and it has to reflect from your personality when you are in a store. Now, how can you craft your own niche in the luxury industry? So academic excellence, of course, is paramount, because for you to enter this industry, you have to have a certain degree which comes from a full-fledged course on luxury, rather than looking at it just from a certification course or probably just as an elective. So you have to undergo a full degree in this area. Then professional experience, of course, do count. If you have experience even in the mass market brands, so I think the retailing bit of it can be swapped. You can enter into a luxury retail even if you're working in with mass market brands. Then innate sensibilities, of course, because like I said, the consumer segment is very different. These are ultra high net worth individuals. These people, for them, luxury is their way of life. So for a luxury brand management professional, if they visit a store, they have to they have to be able to relate to you, and they should be able to make you show your offerings to them, probably. So the whole I think the culture of the brand should be reflected in that one professional at that point. Product knowledge, of course, becomes very important, because these consumers do ask questions about where is the material sourced from, what is the history of this product, where did the leather come from, who is the artist behind creating these products. So these are some of the questions that luxury consumers do ask, and a professional must be able to address all of those. Dynamic personality, of course, I mean, these are self-explanatory, and no matter how cliched it may sound, but command over English is a must. Good verbal and non-verbal communication, etiquette and mannerism, strong networking skills, and be informed. Since luxury is a global industry, so you cannot just be an LV brand manager sitting in Emporio in New Delhi, and you don't know anything about what's happening in Mumbai Palladium or even abroad. So you have to be informed about what's going on in the industry globally. Now, what are the different roles? So when you enter the industry, you act as a brand custodian, and you have to be a product expert, like I said. Then you can become a fashion or a lifestyle consultant. So these are the different roles that the industry offers. And then, of course, there's a whole lot of them, but we'll still touch upon 2 or 3 and see in detail what specific requirements do they have. Then you can be a luxury brand manager, a fashion retail buyer, a PR specialist, product marketing manager, visual merchandising manager. This is very interesting these days, because even after the pandemic, people are craving to go out and experience luxury more than purchase the products. So visual merchandising, it's about designing the stores very beautifully and A lot of brands are really focusing on this. So if you have that kind of creative bent of mind, this is a very good option. Then fashion good product manager and fashion marketing manager. So of course, all these roles have a lot of in-depth responsibilities, but we'll see 2 or 3 here. So a luxury brand manager, what are their specific roles? So they have to conduct market research, then they have to manage and organize advertising campaigns, so budgeting, allocation of budget, and everything for those campaigns, then consult with the promotional agencies, collaborate with brand designers and creators, and supervise marketing, production, and manufacturing staff. So it is, of course, being at the top of everything and then managing everything. Then fashion retail buyers, so they really analyze the buying patterns and predict future sales, analyze various performance indicators such as sales and discount levels. So discount levels do not generally apply to luxury because luxury does not come at a discount, but then in certain cases for some entry level brands this might be the case. Then manage and plan stock levels, meet suppliers, maintain contact with them, and negotiate the terms of contract and everything. So this is a very different kind of role, more on a strategic front. And finally, fashion PR specialists. So they really are the face of the brand. So they, of course, they take care of it, as evident from the name. They take care of the PR activities. So they handle client complaints, they network and make good relationship with the editors who write good things about the brands, and of course have a good contact in the media so that you can put your brand in a good name out there. Now, what is your gateway to the luxury industry? B school versus luxury school. So of course, I'm sure you all must be a little familiar with this, but still B school has a regular degree, but luxury school gives you a very specific degree for you to be able to start your career in luxury outright. So a lot of good institutes here in India, they have started elective courses on luxury brand management. So these might be just like any other electives that you have, but it is very good to do this from an institute perspective also. So because they really familiarize the student at the undergrad level that there is a thing called luxury brand management, so that it opens wider possibilities for the students. So B schools do offer these courses at a very small level, but if you want to enter into the luxury industry, you should go to a luxury school and pursue a full-fledged degree. Then faculty credibility, of course, somebody who has not been in the industry or who has not worked with these brands really won't be able to do much justice to the kind of delivery that they will have. But I think luxury schools, they do have faculty who have worked in the industry and who knows the industry inside out. Then international associations are very much important because most of the luxury brands are European or US based. So they come from West. And if they have international associations with universities or brands, it is a good exposure for the course. And industry interface, of course, a lot of internships and case studies and live projects, they do help from the at the course level only when the students are studying. So it gives that kind of exposure. And finally, like I said, live projects, entrepreneurship, and incubation centers. So this is what is offered in a luxury school. Then how are the courses designed? So the course kind of familiarize you with, so they follow a structured learning journey where they'll talk about the historical evolution of certain brands, what are the complexities involved, the stories of their founders, and what different strategies have the brand been using over the years. So this is at a very basic level to lay the foundations probably, but a more advanced level of it is the cultural aspects. Like I said, luxury is a global industry, so culture plays a very important role. So what might be relevant to consumers in China might not be relevant here in India. So a brand manager has to be culturally sensitive that ways. So these are other things, other courses that a full-fledged luxury course offers. So they teach you styling and etiquettes, financial management, luxury retail marketing, luxury PR and advertising, because all these are very different from what we do for mass market brands. So career options, there are a lot of, even within luxury, there are a lot of product categories or industries that you can enter, starting with fashion and accessories, the hard luxury like watches and jewelry, fragrances and cosmetics, homeware and interior design, wines and spirits. And of course, this depends on your personal interest. What product category are you most inclined to? So you will also be able to do justice when you get into the job. And leisure and hospitality comes more from the service industry perspective. Then art and collectibles, real estate, luxury spa and wellness, and of course, retail. Okay, so this is what the industry has been doing, or the basic models that have been followed. But over a course of time, I won't say these are very new, but these are relatively new to what the normal luxury industry had offered over years. So other business models, so it's not that you just go and work straight away for Gucci, but there are other models like pre-owned retailers. So looking at the sustainability aspect of it, a lot of businesses have made it big in the pre-owned luxury segment. For example, Westair Collectives in US, so they have their retail stores and a website, and Real is also there apart from others. And in India also we have a couple of pre-owned retailers like Lux Police and Confidential Couture. So for you to, if you have an interest in luxury, this is also an area where you can go and work at, because this has a very huge growth potential moving forward. And next is third party sellers. So they have their websites and they sell luxury products online. For example, Farfetch in the UK. So I recently received this, I think even just yesterday, I received this notification on my LinkedIn, and I just copy pasted it here. So they are offering their plug-in graduate programs in Portugal. I'm sure it might be different for what is happening in India, but even these kind of business models, they are offering courses. The next is My Theresa. So these are other business models that can be looked at. And yeah, this is the email that I received yesterday. So I, again, just to put things in perspective for you all, I pasted it here. So even LVMH offers a certification course. So if you want more details and if anybody is interested, I can send this across to you. But even luxury brands themselves have started rolling out courses. So they train you and then they ask you to come and work for them. So this is another one. Now, premier institutes in India. So like I said, a lot of institutes do not offer a luxury management course in India, but it has started happening recently. So IIM Ahmedabad does offer a 21-day certification course, and it is very, when you look at a luxury course here in India, the most important thing for you to consider is what international affiliations or partnerships do they have. So, for example, ESSEC is the top business school in luxury in Europe. So, IIM Ahmedabad offers their course in collaboration with them. So, but again, the requirement is a 5 to 7 years of professional experience, which might not apply to a lot of us. So, but this can be later looked at. But the another one, and I think the best one here is SP Jain, because SP Jain is anyways a global institute. They have centers in Singapore and Dubai. So they just need a bachelor's degree, and then they offer a 12-month PG program. Half of the course, I think, is delivered here in Mumbai, and the rest of the course in Milan. So they have this hybrid learning program, and then you can work wherever you want to, depending on the work permits and everything. But they do offer a joint program. Then LCBS is another recent, business school in Gurgaon, founded by Mr. Abhay Gupta. So this They also just require a bachelor's degree. I really could not find the fee structure for them because they wanted me to download some brochures and everything, but you can certainly note this down, and if you're interested, you can take this forward. And they do have some partnerships. They offer masters, executive masters, and even corporate programs. And they do have partnerships with certain institutions outside of India. Then in Bangalore, I think, or Pune, there's FAD, Institute of Luxury, Fashion and Style. They also offer a 12-month PG course in collaboration with certain universities in London, Milan, or Dubai. This might be a good course for people looking at a career forward. And Pearl Academy also offers a 24-month course. So I'm sure there might be other good institutes as well, but these are the top ones. Plus, the courses put forward here are a complete course just focusing on luxury. But other institutes, like even my university, offers a course, but it's just an elective. So it doesn't make sense for people looking for a career moving forward unless you do a full thing. And top global institutes, I forgot to write HEC Paris here, but that is also a very good university. And these are another top global institutes that you can look at. And of course, these institutes, they do have their open days, and wherein they'll kind of pitch in their courses probably and give you more details. So you can kind of register for these if at all you are interested. This is also one of the mail that I recently received. So again, just to put it out there for you all. And yeah, thanks. I think this is it from my side. Now, if anybody has any doubts or questions, you can certainly.
Okay, I have a question, Rubal. Okay, I think there's one question popped up here in the chat box. Let me just see.
From which school do you have done this course? Okay, so I have done a regular MBA, but since I was interested in luxury, so currently I'm pursuing my PhD in this area. So for me to be doing PhD, it's just that, of course, it's a little more exercise, because I, had to, if I had done a master's in this area, so I would have known a lot of it already. But I think if for a PhD, you don't really require that kind of full-fledged course. So that is what I'm doing currently. But that's also one way to go about it. If you're passionate about the industry, a doctorate is also a very good option. And moving forward, you can act as a consultant to a lot of brands, because you have that kind of very niche knowledge. So I have not done a course yet. Yeah.
There's another question by Mr. Devrat Diwan. He wants to know your view on the future of resale luxury in India.
Of course. So resale has an immense potential. I'm sure Devrat has been associated with quite a few startups, so he has some idea of it. But resale in India, we do have aspirational consumers. So for us to be, and we do not have deep pockets. So for us to be able to experience a luxury product, we might not even hesitate in going for a second-hand product. So the pre-owned market has a huge growth potential, I think.
There's another question. What if we want to start something in this field immediately after our MBA? How can we enter in this?
Okay, so if you have done a regular MBA, probably going for a certification course or a 12-month course specific to the luxury industry, that would be advisable. Because why would a brand like LV or Gucci absorb a person who has done regular MBA, who they might go and work for mass brands as well, right? So I mean, a certification course is advisable, but if you do have the bandwidth and if you have that kind of money to spend, I think you can probably go abroad and look for a good university and do probably a 1-year course there. Because with such a course, you will have an edge by entering into the industry directly. So they have placements just in the luxury companies. So a certification course might help. And if you want to do again right after masters, you can even indulge in a full 2-year course also. So that entirely depends on your bandwidth and your willingness to enter the industry.
Okay, another question is luxury brand management a good career? Probably she's trying to ask its prospects in India.
Okay, so in India, like I said, a lot of luxury brands are looking at entering the Indian market. And like I said, that India is we are the second youngest population, right? And moving forward, it will be mostly millennials and Gen Z who have that mindset of having the best things in life, right? So it do have a huge potential moving forward in India. And since a lot of brands are also entering, so from an employability perspective also, it is a very good domain to enter.
Another, I think you've already answered this question, so I'll leave. The question was, can we do this course after MBA,
Sure,
or is
you
it too
can.
late? Yeah, you have
No,
already
it's
answered.
never late, but even it is mostly advisable if you pursue it right after your graduation. But even if you have done your MBA, I think a certification course won't hurt.
Okay, another question from a fashion designing student, that I want to know that right now I'm pursuing fashion designing. After completing my my graduation from this course, can we go for MBA in luxury management?
For sure, you can. And people who are from the fashion industry, I think they do have that kind of sensitivity for luxury and fashion, and that kind of passion also drives them. So for people doing the degree in fashion designing, it makes very much sense to pursue a luxury course.
Okay. Let me see if there are more chats here. I think that's it. No more questions. Okay. Yeah, there are more questions popping up. Just okay. Somebody's asking, is there any degree course in luxury management regarding degree course issues regarding fashion designing?
I
really don't
really
know what
didn't understand what does that mean. Anshi, you can probably unmute yourself and.
Anshi, I'll just unmute Anshi Gupta just a sec.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yes, you are.
Ma'am, actually, I want to know that I'm pursuing fashion designing from Biani groups of colleges. And ma'am, I want to do the MBA after my graduation. So ma'am, I have heard from my relatives that there is an degree issue that after fashion designing, you can't do direct MBA. So is there any issue between in our degree?
Nothing of that sort that I am aware of. You can do MBA after any degree, so I don't think that is an issue.
Like, ma'am, I have completed my 12th from PCM. So isn't there any issue regarding my PCM or any fashion designing?
No, Anshi, I don't think there is any such issue. So I have seen people who have studied science all their lives and then they pursue doctorate in marketing. So I think MBA certainly should not be an issue. So it is just up to you what you want to do moving forward. But I don't think that there will be any restriction from your background.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
That's okay.
Any other questions? You won't get such an opportunity to know about this innovative management field. So anybody has any type of questions, you're most welcome. We can wait for 2 minutes.
Okay, so I can see one more question here. Amid a market shift towards sustainability, do you think luxury resale is a threat to luxury brands. So I think luxury resale is the form of sustainability. So I don't see any threat to luxury brands. In fact, luxury brands themselves are embracing the resale market. So for the Vestiaire Collective that I was talking about earlier, so brands like Gucci, Alexander McQueen, they have partnered with resale platforms to so of course this offer dual advantages to brand. Number one is they show it out there to their consumers that they are sensitive towards environment. Also, if brands themselves indulge in sustainable in pre-owned or sorry resale markets, they tap a very different consumer segment altogether who might not be able to afford their products in a new form. So if a Gucci bag is available in a resale market, I might purchase it today. If I like it, of course I will like it. And then 2 years down the line, I might even go to buying a new Gucci bag as well. So brands are kind of looking at from two different perspectives, and sustainability and resale, of course, go hand in hand.
Any other questions? Okay, I think you have already answered most of the questions in your session. So it was actually quite informative. I just have one small question, Rubal. Since luxury management is a very niche management field, and so what do you think? Like, is it able to accommodate as many graduates or the postgraduates if this industry churns out? So, what is the employment opportunity out here? Hmm.
Okay, so right now, ma'am, India was never a luxury market. So in the last probably 5 or 7 years, we have seen an immense growth in terms of the number of luxury malls that are there in India, and there are 2, 3 more malls that big groups like Reliance they are looking forward to building. So like I said, 300 fashion brands are looking at the Indian market to enter the Indian market in the next 2, 3 years. So from an employability perspective, I think the scope is increasing. It was not the case earlier, but now since India is opening and we have more money to spend here, our incomes are increasing, and we haven't been rich always, but recently we have started becoming. So moving forward, I think the employability opportunities are going to increase.
Very true. Very true. So I think we have come down to the end of the session. I hope no more questions from the student side. No, they are happy with whatever you presented. They're actually quite contented.
I'm glad I could be of some help.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So for that, in fact, I would like to congratulate you and thank you profusely for making this session so fruitful for all of our students, and making us realize that luxury management primarily focus on, creating memorable experiences continuously. And for this, I think you have already explained the various aspects of luxury brand management, starting from the skills the students require, what all they should possess, and about the product design and brand experience and service development. Everything I think you have touched upon. And for that, I really thank you profusely once again. And since most of the economies, as you already said, that are trying to globalize and trying to expand their markets beyond their boundaries, so this is the right time wherein students can, diversify in terms of their skills and grab this opportunity in these kind of innovative fields. And thank you for opening such a new avenue for our students, Rubal. We can't thank you enough for this. I would also like to thank our principal ma'am, Dr. Neha Pandey ma'am, and Abhishek sir for being instrumental in organizing this webinar. And I would also like to thank all the faculty members of Commerce and Management Department, especially Ms. Shikha Dugar ma'am, for helping us make this webinar a success. I hope there are great takeaways from this webinar, and the students are going to be benefited definitely. Along with the students, I think even the faculty members would have understood the various avenues which are open for our students and for us also in different fields. Thank you so much, Rubal. Any ending note from your side?
Thank you, ma'am. No, it's always such a pleasure coming back to where I've come from, and thank you so much for having me. Thanks for this opportunity.